We are Gathering of the Geeks, podcast and YouTube show built around the things we as geeks all love. Hashtag we gather on Sundays. Thank you for checking out the one about secondhand embarrassment. I'm one of your hosts, Emmet, and I'm joined by the Ted Lasso to my coach Beard, Chris Evans. Chris, how are you?
Good, how are you doing?
I'm doing all right. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast, just search Gathering of the Geeks and you will find us. What's up to Grabs, Phil, Eric? How's it going on this fine Sunday evening? Chris, I got something to get off my chest.
Other than phlegm.
Yeah, that's right. that adds into it, by the way. So,
okay.
Ian, how's it going? You have a family. I have a family. We love our families and all that good stuff. But let me tell you, it's tiring sometimes. The past 3 days here have been like summer weather. So it's like we're getting outside and my son's playing all the time. We spent the whole day doing yard work today. And just by the end of the day, I'm just like, man, this sucks. And I'm sick right now. So it's all added into it. Like, man, it's a lot of work having a family and having a house, all things that I enjoy very much so. But man, I'm tired. I'm sick. And sometimes you just want to crawl up into a ball and be like, I want to feel better tomorrow. And today wasn't one of those days because we had a lot of stuff to do. What about you?
Tomorrow's the day.
How was your day? And how was your week? How has your couple of weeks been? We've been gone for a few since Easter.
You know, every time we skip a show, it feels like we've been gone for weeks.
Yeah, I don't know why that is. But
yeah, I don't either. I guess because the timing, because technically this would be 2 weeks since, I guess.
Yeah, we only missed one show. But it feels like 3 shows.
I don't know why, but yeah, that's the way it is. It's been good, just busy, you know.
That's good.
I've just been busy. The usual.
That's good. Yeah, that's fine. Oh yeah, Grabs. He's talking about planting trees. I seen he planted spinach the other day. Like he's a full-on gardener. I don't know where he finds the time to do that, but I think he wakes up at 3 a.m. and spends a lot of time in his barn or his shed, just thinking to himself.
I mean,
he's got a life. I tell you, it's a good life.
I think it sounds fun.
It's a good life if you don't weaken.
I've been playing Red Dead Redemption 2 again.
Yeah,
again.
Like starting over?
No, I meant to start over, but when I installed it again, it had my save file still, which I didn't realize transferring from PS4 to PS5 would keep it or load it, and it did. So I realized I never finished the epilogue. So I've been doing the epilogue stuff, and you're a farmer essentially in the epilogue.
Yeah, you love building barns, don't you?
Yeah, I've been really enjoying that. I feel like I'm channeling my reps.
Yeah, just go and chop some wood, and I think you clean out the stalls or whatever.
I cleaned out the stalls last night, and I also milked the cows.
Yeah, that's good. That's where you find peace. I always like just brushing the horse.
It is fun.
Constantly brushing my horse and feeding him peppermints and whatever else.
There's peppermints?
Yeah, you can feed the horse peppermints.
I usually feed them apples or whatever I find.
That's fine. They love apples too, for sure.
That's what it's good times though.
Oh yeah, that game can be very relaxing, and I'll just go for a ride up to the woods or whatever, up to the winter area, and all of a sudden I get attacked by 4 wolves, and that'll be the end of me, and I'll get pissed off that they killed my horse. And
giant cocaine bear.
Eddie missed it. So it was exactly 12 seconds ago. You missed it. I'm sorry.
Oh.
I was humming that. By the way, thanks a lot.
I said, or we said, if you listen close enough, you will hear Emmet mumbling the lyrics already. You just have to listen really close. He's having a good time. Don't stop him now.
Right. Yeah. Mentally, I'm not having a good time, but we'll see if physically I can have a good time here.
You can do it. I believe in you.
Yeah. Thank you. All right. So what'd you get up to the last couple of weeks? Thank you. If you read anything or if you watched anything, I'm sure you did. So what'd you get up to?
Let's do the reads first because I didn't read a lot.
The shortest list.
Right. In the last 2 weeks, I have read 2 books. One of them we won't talk about tonight for reasons. The other one I read was Where Monsters Lie, number 3. And it's just a beautiful book. It's so much fun and it's insane. This issue is nothing but carnage from the first page to the final page. It is just chaos. And it's so much fun chaos too. and you know, not to spoil it for anybody who hasn't read the newest issue yet, but a
Mm-hmm.
lot happens as far as action goes. It's just really fun. It's just a fun read, and it's bizarre and it's odd that it works as well as it does.
Yeah, the your last sentence there, that tells the entirety of the story. It should, like, it almost shouldn't work in a way. Like, there's a lot that could go against it working, but
Mhm.
something about it all clicking and all doing its thing, it's wild mayhem, and it just seems to work for some reason.
Yeah, and it's not like the dialogue is incredibly clever or the art is groundbreaking.
Exactly.
Something with it just works.
Hmm.
So that's what I read. We'll talk about the other book I read. I think what in 2 weeks because it's not out yet, so we don't want
Yeah, well, we had a chance to read World Tree from James Tynan,
to.
and it was supposed to come out. Was it just this week, or maybe it was the week before? I can't
I'm not
remember.
sure.
But they sent out review copies of it. But then the book got delayed by 2 weeks. So Chris and I read that, and we're gonna. I think we'll dedicate a little bit of our show. I think it's next week or the week after to that book. So if you guys haven't read it, I think you can still order it from your comic shop. I would highly recommend a lot of people do that because it's a very good book, and I think it's going to be also very hard to find if you're into physical copies as well. But we'll
Yes,
talk about that later on.
the time will come.
The time will come.
The
The
time will
tiny
come.
onion time will come.
Yes, Tiny Onion Mania. So that was my reads. Well, did you read anything?
Yeah, so I didn't read Where Monsters Lie #3. I totally forgot about it. I didn't read anything from 2 weeks ago. I guess that was the first week we were off. And one thing I was mad that I missed was I guess it's the relaunch of Planet of the Apes that Marvel
Mhm.
owns now, I guess, which I totally missed that happening as well.
Hmm.
So there was a Planet of the Apes #1 that came out a couple weeks ago. I've been meaning to get to that. I'm a big fan of Planet of the Apes, all Planet of the Apes stuff. So that was 2 weeks ago that I'm upset that I missed. And then last week was the second issue of Superman Lost, where Superman goes to do a mission with the Justice League, and he feels like he's gone for a couple seconds or a couple minutes, and he comes back to the home to see Lois, and he's been gone for 20 years, or he was gone for 20 years in his life, but only gone for a couple of minutes in everyday Lois Lane life. So issue #2, we get to find out where he went, and why he's been gone for so long. So it's like I don't know. He goes through a couple places in this one issue, and it's still very, very good. I really love the first issue of Superman Lost, but the second issue keeps that momentum going. I kind of wasn't expecting what was going to happen by the end of the first issue, if we were going to stay with the Lois Lane period and kind of jump back and forth between when he was actually lost. But 3/4 of the story is when he was lost and what happened to him and all that kind of stuff. And there's good Batman stuff and Bruce Wayne stuff, which is good. So I recommend that for people as well. Superman Lost #2 came out this week.
I will add that to my list. I think
Add
the
it to your list.
first one is on the DC Universe Infinite app, so I could probably read it.
Oh, they put it on early. Nice.
Well, I believe it's 30 days now if you have the Ultra version of the app.
Oh, nice.
Yes, so I believe it's on there now. I get confused with the timelines because one of the apps is 3 months, one of them is a month. I think I don't know. If it's on
Marvel Unlimited, you mean?
Yeah, the Marvel one I think is 3 months. I forget.
Mm-hmm.
Either way, there's a lot of comics to read, but I want to get to that.
Yeah, a lot of comics for sure. One old one that I started to read, well, not old, was Dark Spaces Wildfire from Scott Snyder from IDW. It's about a group of convicts who volunteer as firefighters who put out wildfires in California. And they're up on a hill putting out a fire or whatever, and they come across a house that one of the convicts used to work for, and she knows that there's money in there. So they're putting together a plan to break into this house and steal the money while also there's a wildfire going on. And it kind of jumps ahead a little bit, and Mr. Scott Snyder and his exposition and his 700 word bubbles a page is a little tough at times, but I was meaning to get to it when it was coming out, and it's all done now, so I'm going to read that one all the way through because there's another Dark Spaces book coming out in the next couple of weeks. I guess it's an anthology series, this Dark Spaces idea. So there's another one coming out in the next couple of weeks, and obviously they're not connected, but it was just something I wanted to get to.
I hadn't heard of that, actually.
Yeah, Dark Spaces Wildfire it's called, and I forget what the new Dark Spaces is called.
I kind of feel like if Snyder's not writing like a main comic character, a lot of his stuff doesn't get the same attention.
Well, and he was doing the comicsology only ones.
Yes.
Like then now they're coming out on physical. I think Clear was another one, and I think it's coming out for Dark Horse Comics. And then there was one other one. I can't remember, a horror-based one.
Wasn't it Witches or something?
Out. No, Witches is an old Image one that he did before. But there's another horror one that he did only for Comixology, and now it's coming out in physical form as well.
Ian says Little Monsters has been consistently good. Have you guys been reading Ambassadors? I don't know why I said that word. I decided I didn't see it there. I have not kept up with Little Monsters, and not because I don't like it. I just kind of forget about it. And I have not read The Ambassadors.
Yeah, Little Monsters number 12. 12 came out this week as well. I haven't read it yet. And it's the second to last issue. So the last issue, number 13, is in May 10th. And another one of Lemire's book came out last week too, Phantom Road number 2, which I haven't read yet as well. I'm doing the thing with Lemire where I'm waiting until they're done. I find his stuff just reads his newer stuff reads so much better when it's completed. And even Essex County, the TV show, that I watched the first 2 episodes so far. I think there's 5. I think it might be done now, but I can't remember. But I was waiting for it to all be done so I could watch it all the way, because the show plays like one of his comic books, where by the end of it, just like, I don't know if that was good or not because the full story hasn't been revealed. And so I'm doing the same thing with that. So waiting for Little Monsters to be done, and I'm waiting for Phantom Road to be done as well.
Cool. I will get to one of those. I really want to finish Little Monsters, actually. But I'm so far behind, I might as well just wait for it to be done, and I'll just catch it up.
You'd start all the way at number 1, probably.
Yeah, because if I remember, most issues don't have a lot of dialogue anyway. It's a lot of really nice art, and a dozen characters you're supposed to constantly remember.
Yeah, I remember that was our thing over the first couple issues when we were reading it, trying to get the kids' names.
I still can't remember a single one of them.
Yeah.
There's too many characters. They keep throwing them at you. There's always another kid.
Yeah, always another kid, and then humans get involved and other vampires, and it's like, oh, what's going on here? So I agree with you. And again, once it's all done, it's easier to read.
Ian got caught up on Noctera last night. Yeah, I've heard great things about Noctera too.
It's another Scott Snyder one, I think, isn't it?
Yes. Him and his indie books.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, so not much for reading for us this week, guys. I'm sure it'll pick up again eventually. But so what'd you watch this last couple of weeks, Chris?
So I watched Superman and Lois the last 2 weeks, which for both episodes were immaculate, I think. This episode especially had something really cool at the end.
Which one's the episode where he beats up that guy at the diner or whatever?
That was last week's episode.
Lousy Emmet.
Yeah. Yeah, his name is Emmet.
Lousy Emmet, I tell you.
That was such a great scene, though.
Well, I watched it. I think it was on Facebook or something. I'm like, whoa, what is happening here? Like, this is really good stuff. Like, I didn't know what the context was. I just know he had beaten up Jordan or Jonathan.
Well, he hit Jonathan, and then he threatened Lois.
Yeah, I'm like, whoa, this is good stuff, and that's the stuff that I really enjoyed about the show, was the family stuff. And so yeah, that scene made me kicking myself for not starting season 3. But
you might like
maybe when
season
it's
3.
all done, I'll get to it. Yeah,
it's been.
Well, you've been very high on it.
Yeah, this season has been really good. They haven't missed, in my opinion. It's focused more on the Kents.
It's the favorite of the season so far.
Favorite season?
One was pretty good though. Yeah.
It might be my favorite season so far.
Better than season 1, and season 2 was you didn't like as much.
Season 2 is very mixed. There was too much going on with other characters that I didn't care about. But this season so far has been really good, and I recommend it. Also, the way they portray Clark is the way I want Clark in a movie. because I think it's just a perfect balance of everything you love about the character.
Well, Zeddy is, I think, or maybe it was you on the latest DC Unlimited pod. If you guys were doing your fan castings, or maybe it was another thing. Just Tyler Hoechlin in general is very high on, I don't know, my circle of people, and I'm just including you and Zeddy in that group.
Yeah, I think he could handle a movie if he were given the option or the chance. I think he could handle a film.
Well, you'd say the same about what's her name too, eh?
Elizabeth Tulloch. Yeah, if you could put them together in a movie, I would easily take it. So it's great. But I watched that. I'm all caught up on Ted Lasso, which has been really good too. The speech in the last episode was fantastic.
Oh boy, yeah,
that was something.
Yeah, the episode after the episode where it was kind of revealed that Colin was gay and the stuff getting in there with Trent. I can't remember the episode after that. I think it was the episode where they get angry and they have the match with West Ham and Nate.
Yeah.
By the end of that episode, where this isn't really spoilers, but where Coach Beard and Roy are in the office and they're asking Ted to yell at them, and he doesn't yell at them and he just talks to them. I'm like, man, it's my favorite show on TV right now. Like it's so good. And Ted is just like, he's such a great character, and like everything that's happening to Ted in this season is just heartbreaking, like incredibly heartbreaking. Like, especially when you find out what happens to him, his wife. I think it's in that episode too.
I think it is, and that's part of his demeanor.
And then the next episode, when you find out what happens to his son or what is happening with his son, it's like, man, it's my favorite show on TV right now. I think the writing is just incredible in this season specifically, because there's, like we just talked about with season 2 of Superman and Lois, with a lot going on. There's a ton going on in season 3 of Ted Lasso, like the Keeley stuff, the Rebecca stuff, the Nate stuff, and the Nate stuff by the end of the newest episode was really good too. I don't know if I'm actually surprised. I think how much I'm liking this season and how much I don't know why, and maybe it's just I don't know about the goofiness, and like there is the goofy Ted Lasso stuff in this season, but I don't know, something about it seemed more personable and more emotional and more meaningful in this season for some reason. I don't know why that is. I don't know if that's true or not. Chris, what do you think?
That's a good question. I think it's because we've spent 2 seasons with Ted already. So it's like we know him and everything is hitting harder because we know the whole cast now. I think that's what season 2 did a great job of. Season 1 set it up. It's funny. Everybody's laughing. Season 2 is where they really dug in and showed us who these characters actually are. So that in this season, when things are happening to them, we really get it. That's kind of how I look at it. Ian's comment's interesting here, though. He says it's still good, but I don't feel the writing is what it was, a bit too silly at times. Now, that's interesting to me because I've had a lot of friends come back and tell me, I think the show is too serious now and it's depressing.
Yeah, I would. Then that's what I'm saying. I don't feel the silliness at all in season 3. Yeah, I feel the more serious and more, and like there is goofy moments, like specifically in the last episode when Roy kind of gets angry and when they're talking about his son and Trent's got his coffee mug and he drops it. Anyways, like that stuff, that I think that's the funny stuff, but it's different. I think this season is very different than the other 2.
I do too. Much. I'm kind of curious though, Ian. What did you find silly? Because I haven't heard that one yet. I'm just curious. The humor's been pretty good to me, anyway. But I watched that, and I want to. So I was talking to Grabs last night, and he managed to show the Big Door Prize on Apple TV. I'm pretty excited to check that out. I don't know if I'm going to do it tonight because we got Barry and Succession. But
Barry's tonight?
Barry's tonight, yes.
Son of a bitch.
I know. I didn't know it was tonight either until earlier today.
I thought they were waiting until Succession was over. I wasn't paying attention to Barry. Damn it.
Nope, we got Barry tonight. But speaking of Succession,
it's too much.
I watched that episode of Succession last week. Was something else.
Yeah, well, I want to get to that when we're talking about our secondhand embarrassment. So
we'll cap
off
that
on
off there.
Succession for half.
Let's get to some of these comments. Grab says the scene of Ted telling his wife his feelings and her small smile after it. It was amazing.
So good.
Zeddy says, "Where's Nate been? I feel like he's been absent all season. He's supposed to be the villain." That's kind of the thing. I don't think Nate is meant to be a full-on villain, though, and that's what we're seeing. Nate is just an impressionable young man.
He's like a puppy dog, you know. He's like a dog who's got a trainer that wants him to be like a what do you call those? A pit bull. Rupert wants Nate to be a pit bull, but he's a Chihuahua.
I would say he's more like a Boston Terrier or something.
Yes, it's like Rupert wants him to be the villain, and we see by the end of the latest episode that he's not that at all.
He's really not. He's just impressionable or something. He always needs love.
He wants to. Well, and I wonder by the end of the latest episode where he's been trying to be something that he's not, if he's starting to change that now and just be himself.
Maybe. Eric says, "Come on, Zay, we know Rupert is the real villain." I think that is the case. I think Rupert is actually like the Thanos of Ted Lasso. Grab said, "I actually really like Nate's story and involvement thus far. I think it's mixed perfect." I do too. I've really been liking what they show about him.
Agreed.
The jokes and humor is sometimes overly silly, like with Zava. It's not as realistic as it was. I guess as a soccer fan, it doesn't make sense. The story arcs are more serious for sure. Okay, yeah, that I get you. The Zava stuff was a bit over the top. He was something else.
Yeah, and its resolution was quite the switch as well.
Yeah, did not see that coming.
I did not expect that. Yeah,
in the soccer stuff, I guess like for me, I don't know a lot about football or soccer, so I kind of just know what this show tells me.
Yeah, have you seen the movie Mystery Alaska?
I still haven't seen it now.
Okay, so I always think that like it's a hockey movie, and you're supposed to, you're supposed to think it's real, but Russell Crowe on skates, it just doesn't make a lick of sense. Yeah,
I can buy Russell Crowe on skates.
Okay,
I've seen Jeremy Renner on skates. I think he had skates on Hawkeye.
Did he? Oh, when they went skating in Times Square?
No, during the ice rink fight, didn't he have skates on?
I don't know. I can't be there.
Either way.
So I understand that sense though, Ian, about if you're a fan of a sport and they're in sport, and that was something I wanted actually in season 2, I think, of Ted Lasso was more sport, more soccer, because I felt like in season 1 there wasn't as much. I think in season 2 there was more.
Season 3 feels like there's a lot.
Yeah, just thinking of Danny killing the dog. But yeah, season 3 is specifically with the Zava stuff, and obviously the end of the episode where the team tries to be assholes or whatever. So
they said also true, but they really built up Nate's heel turn. I feel like prior to last week's episode, we hardly got any storyline movement with his character. I guess I could see that though. He wasn't in a lot of the earlier parts. We just started seeing him. I can agree with that. The fact that they're avoiding having the team per amazing is great.
Be amazing.
Be amazing. Okay. Yes, I like that too. It reminds me of Major League though.
For sure.
I like Ted Lasso. So that's what I watched on like the TV front, and on the movies, I finally got to 65. That movie with Adam Driver I wanted to catch with
that dinosaur movie.
I got to that. That was pretty fun for what it is. It's 90 minutes of Adam Driver being terrified of dinosaurs and having a sci-fi weapon to kill them with. Pretty fun.
Not so bad. There's no twist, or is like I'm picturing like Planet of the Apes or something. Like he's gone back in time, but he hasn't gone back in time. He's gone to a different world, but he hasn't gone to a different world.
No,
there you don't have to spoil it too much, but is there a big twist, or is it pretty straightforward as to what's happening? Okay.
No, there's a twist. Yeah, it's just the twist. You find out in the first 10 minutes what the twist actually is.
Oh, okay.
Like the first, they're not trying to hide what it is. There is something else that happens that's kind of like, oh, that's neat. I would recommend it if you have nothing else to watch. It's 90 minutes.
I was
which
thinking
I
about
don't.
that the other day, I think, to watch
We
it.
don't get a lot of 90-minute movies anymore. It's kind of become a
Yeah.
rare thing. Ironically, though, we have 3 90-minute movies to talk about, but
Mm.
because like Mario was 90 minutes, we talked about that
Yeah,
before.
beautiful time. So good.
Renfield is 90 minutes, and this was
Hmm.
90 minutes.
Yeah, Renfield. Yeah.
That's the highlight. Well, I'll get to that. Though.
Well, okay, I'll have a question when you get to that. Okay.
Okay. But 65 was cool. I enjoyed that. And I also, I guess that's it. Yeah, I watched that. And then and I rewatched Ghostbusters Afterlife, which I just love. Just chef's kiss, as they say.
Well, yes.
And then I watched Renfield, which was the highlight.
Okay, yeah. So tell me about Renfield. Tell me, like, your excitement and anticipation for this movie was beyond for lots of different reasons. Dracula, Nicolas Cage, and so forth. Yeah, I mean, how'd you like it?
I thought it was really fun. It's
Mm.
so I remember you and I had the conversation when the first trailer came out. What is this? And I
No
didn't
idea what
know.
this movie
I
is.
didn't even know how to answer it. It's like I don't know. And so after seeing it, it is different. It's basically like, I don't even know how to describe it still, and I've seen it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's a mix of comedy, horror, and action, and it blends
Mm-hmm.
all three very well. I would say it's a little bit lighter on the horror aspect because it's really only horror when Dracula is around.
Mm.
Because Nicolas Cage's Dracula is as violent as he is funny, I think.
Mm.
And he's just outstanding in the role. It looks like he's having a blast.
Yeah.
All the mannerisms he does and the voice itself is funny.
Mm-hmm.
After the movie, when I saw it on Tuesday, they had a Q&A with him. It was live streamed. And he said he got the voice from his father because his father would purposely speak with an accent.
Okay.
And he mixed that with Anne Bancroft.
Mm.
That's how he got the voice for Dracula, which I think is fun.
Nice.
Yeah, but it's very entertaining.
Mm.
The story is goofy for the most part. Like toward the end, it gets very goofy, but it's fun.
Okay. So here's my question. So when you saw the movie, I think you saw it on an early screening on a Tuesday
Yes.
or whatever. I expected you to either message me or when I woke up in the morning to just be exclamation points everywhere. You jumping up and down, you saying you're running through walls, all that kind of stuff. But your tweet was very, as the kids say, mid. And the way you're describing it makes me feel that way as well. And if you put up Zeddy's comment about the movie, I think this more or less is kind of what you're saying as well. But, it's goofy. That's fine. But is it a good movie? Like, did you actually enjoy it? Or are you hit over the head with Nicolas Cage's Dracula? And that's
I actually enjoyed it. It's just that it's hard to describe because it's essentially it's Renfield being tired of Dracula's crap after 100 years.
Right.
That's basically what it is. And chaos ensues.
Yeah.
It's just weird. But yes, it's very entertaining. I did enjoy it. It's not like
it's goofier than you expected it to be?
No, it's just as goofy as I expected it to be. No. It was gorier than I expected, though. Like it has a lot of gore, which that was something. Not a spoiler, but there's the part where someone gets speared with another person's arm, and it's beautiful.
Yeah, of course.
Yes, but it's just I think a lot of people are seeing it as turn your brain off and watch it for 90 minutes, like Zeddy says.
Right. That sounds like Fast and the Furious to me, though. Like when people say,
no, like, I wouldn't say it's like that.
It's a I don't know, a dumbed down action movie where you don't have to think too much or something like that. That's what I didn't ask you about your tweet, and I didn't ask you about your real thoughts for Renfield. So, like just reading your tweet and reading some other people's thoughts about it as well. It's fun, but it's 90 minutes. If you want to watch it, that's good. And you'll enjoy it if you don't think about it too much. I'm just trying to process what that actually means for the movie. And what you're saying, where it's hard to describe, that's an interesting thought as well about the movie.
I just haven't seen something with this kind of tone, I guess, is what it is. Because I still don't. You can't call it a horror movie. You can't call it a comedy, but then you can't call it an action movie either. Mm-hmm. So it's a movie. It is a fun movie.
It's a movie.
It's a movie.
I get you. Yeah, that's just an interesting. Yeah. Do you have anything to compare that to? where you've seen a movie that's like that? I don't
Not
know. It's just very different,
really.
you know.
No, I don't even know what to compare it to. Maybe like Zeddy and Phil have seen it. If they have something to compare it
Yeah.
to, let us know.
Hmm.
I don't really, and it's unique in that way, I think.
That I was going to say that's a selling feature. I
Hmm.
think it sounds
And
like.
also the cast is really good too. You have Nicolas Cage, of course, but Nicholas Holt is
Hmm.
always great, I think. And as Renfield, he's a lot of fun. He's
Hmm.
very interesting as Renfield. He's not Dwight Fry's Renfield, but that's okay.
Sure.
Because the movie is a direct sequel to the 31 Dracula film.
Oh, it is. Oh,
It
cool.
is. Yeah, they tie it together really well. I actually love those scenes.
Yeah.
But there's progression for each character, so they don't have to be exact carbon
Mm,
copies of what we saw
right.
there. But you have Nicholas Holt, who does a great job. Aquafina, I think, is surprisingly funny in this movie.
Mm.
I just learned her name from this after watching this. But apparently she's very popular, and I see why.
Hmm.
It also has, I think his name is Ben Schwartzman. He does the voice for Sonic.
Oh yeah, yeah.
He's also pretty entertaining in this.
Mm. Nice.
Hmm.
Yeah,
If
I
you
just
like fun
I
horror
wasn't.
movies,
Yeah, I just wasn't sure what to think with your reaction to it, and I don't know. Maybe I just haven't seen many people talking about it in a grand way. Like maybe because I didn't know what to expect, so maybe other people didn't know what to expect either, and it's just a very different and unique movie. I think unique is a good word to use. That's interesting.
the thing I've seen people talk about the most is actually Cage's Dracula.
Right.
He seems to be the focal point for any review you read. Even if they don't like the movie,
Mhm.
they like him.
So if it's a sequel to 31 one, does he play it like that? What's his name?
Bella.
Bela Lugosi, is that her name? Yeah, does he
Um,
play it like that, or is it different? Because he's
he
obviously
plays he's like a
Islam.
mix. He's like a mix of Lugosi and Christopher Lee.
Hmm.
There's,
That's fun.
there's, yeah, it's a fun mix. There's a little bit of both in his performance. He looks kind of like both too,
Hmm.
so it's a really
That is
fun.
interesting. Yeah, that's funny to think about.
Yeah, because they do, I guess, look similar with the way they're styled in a way, the
Hmm.
slick back hair and all that. So,
Yeah.
but Bella has the more pronounced eyebrows, which Cage had in this movie.
Hmm.
It's like a mixed match of them, and they, depending on the scene, he's one or the other, I guess is the way to explain it.
Mm.
There's a particular scene, if you ever watch it, that takes place in Renfield's apartment, which I think is just a magical few minutes.
Mm.
I love that scene, but
Does do the trailers leave a lot out of the movie? Is there a lot?
well, I only saw the first trailer, and if you go by
Yeah.
that, yeah, the first trailer
Okay.
doesn't. It gives you the basis of what it is, though. Renfield wants to break free from Dracula.
Fair enough.
He's tired of his crap.
Tired of his crap.
Tired of his crap. But yeah, maybe the tweet was kind of, I don't know, mid-range, I suppose.
No, you tweet whatever you want, but it's just my expectations of somebody who I know was beyond about this movie. Like I expected you to be, coming out out of the theater, just being a crazy man.
I kind of
About it.
was, but then it took me 20 minutes to get out of the theater parking lot, and that kind of killed the excitement. Plus,
I
I was
tell you, movie
exhausted that
theaters.
day, so the tweet was basically all I had left.
Yeah, I was gonna say, people are expecting me to tweet about this. Must tweet about Renfield.
Right, it was all I had left, guys. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's good. Yeah.
Let's get through some of these comments.
Hmm.
My number one of the year so far. I haven't seen John Wick 4 yet. Phil says Wick 4 is something special. Also, check out Tetris. Oh, I wanted to see Tetris. Glad that it's good.
Yeah.
I'm going to check that out. Renfield decides to break. Yes, he does. It's like the Queen song. I want to break free. Just saying. It's Carnage Palooza. 100% agree with Emmett's train of thought here. It was fun. Turn your brain off. It's something you say about movies you want to love but don't. That's fair. But I do love Renfield. I'm planning to buy the Blu-ray, and I've already decided my Halloween costume. So
There's got to be some cool special features for that one. Just
I'm
seeing,
hoping
like,
for deleted scenes.
or something.
Nicholas Holt tweeted one of the scenes already. It was a full dance number that he did.
Jesus.
It's bizarre. It fits with the tone of the movie, though. Ian says, if you're looking for a super fun movie, Dungeons and Dragons is the movie, but it's not actually dumb fun. It actually has a good story and likable characters. I do want to see that. Grabs wants to see D&D also because he loves RPGs. Phil agrees the 1931 stuff was magical. It really is.
So I think I saw a picture or a trailer. It's in black and white too, yeah?
Yeah.
That stuff, yeah, that's cool.
Yeah, they recreated a few scenes and it's pretty flawless.
That's fun.
Zay says the difference between dumb fun movies and self-serious movies that are meant to evoke a more lasting impression on you once you leave the theater. That's more well put than I could say it.
Smart fella, that city.
Yeah, Zeddy kind of nailed it right there.
Nice. Okay, fair.
Grab says, I think it is that for them, but you have to be invested in either the actors or the subject matter. There you go. That's Renfield.
Cool.
I like that.
Renfield.
I'm looking forward to more viewings, and if they ever release merch, I am there.
There's got to be a T-shirt of some kind.
I want an action figure. Or a pop.
Yeah, there's no Funko Pops? That'd be kind of cool.
No Funko Pops yet.
Bastards.
I know. All I have is my Bram Stoker's Gary Oldman one.
Nothing wrong with that.
No, but I want a Nicolas Cage one now.
Yes, I know you do. What else? Anything else that you watched? You want to get to?
Nope, that covers it.
Cool. So you mentioned going to the movie theaters and how that's a process. I did that on the Wednesday before Easter weekend to go see Super Mario with my family. We had a great time. Super Mario is a great time. And it was something, you talk, and again, I'm going to reference your tweet, so I'm calling you out a bunch in this.
What did I do?
Nothing. You didn't do anything, but it's helping me with my my hypothesis about this as well. You said it was good, but more importantly, your daughter had a great time.
Right.
I thought Super Mario was good, but my son was beyond about the movie. He thought it was the best movie ever made, and he talks about it nonstop. And we listen to that Peaches song, when we're taking the kids to school, catchy. And it's so catchy. Because same kind of thing, 90 minutes, turn your brain off, just watch, Mario Kart stuff, and jumping on blocks and Easter eggs galore. But is it I don't know. I actually found some of the moments. It's a movie of moments. It's a movie of the training montage. It's a movie of the Mario Kart scene or the Donkey Kong fight scene. But all the in between stuff I found pretty slow and actually boring for me as well. And I was glad that the movie was only 90 minutes because I kept expecting to look over at my son and be like, there's two characters talking, nothing's happening. And I'm like, I'm expecting him to be looking around and wanting to do something or, get up and run down the aisle or something like that. But then the moments are so big and so much fun that it makes up for that kind of slow stuff. So I had a good time with it. I liked all the Easter eggs, but, my son had a great time, but he liked it much more than I did because I think it was just okay. I don't know. It's a weird thing to think about because I was something that I was looking forward to so much. But like we're kind of been talking about here, I just if you want to watch Super Mario, if you're into Super Mario stuff, no. See, I don't think it is better than Sonic. So anyway, Super Mario was fun. My family had a great time, and I hope they make more Nintendo movies. I hope they make more Super Mario movies. I hope there's a Luigi's Mansion or a Donkey Kong movie or anything like that.
I think I liked it more than you did because I didn't find it. I didn't. Yeah, I didn't think it was boring. I enjoyed pretty much all of it. I just didn't leave the theater like, wow, I've seen the Shawshank Redemption of animated movies or video game movies.
Exactly.
And I think that I would probably agree. Sonic. I think I enjoyed Sonic better.
Yeah,
but I think
I love both the Sonic movies.
I haven't seen the second one, but I think that Sonic maybe had more of a lasting impression on me. Like Mario, I pretty much already forgot it except for the Peaches song.
Sure.
Sonic, I remember a lot more about it, and I've seen it once or twice, and it's been years.
Oh yeah, okay.
So I think I prefer Sonic also, but they're both good. I think we're in a good period now where video game movies are becoming better. Even the series, as we've seen with
Mm-hmm.
Last of Us, of course, are working.
Yeah, and it works if you don't try and change too much.
We
If you
don't need
make
the
it like the
takes.
game. Exactly. You know why people love Mario and why families are going to see it and why kids love it so much? Because it's exactly like the games that they're playing.
It
You know,
is
And like that whole thing about Sonic when they released that first trailer and he didn't look like Sonic. And then they changed it to look more like Sonic and be like, oh, great, he looks like Sonic. This is the Sonic that I know. So it's very simple. You know, if
I
you want
think
to
the
make a
plans before.
video game movie, just make it like the video game.
Yeah, like Uncharted. Emmett had fun at the movie theater. That's a W on top of a W. I agree.
Oh, it was tough getting there, I tell you.
Excite Bike the movie, get out of the mud. I would watch that. You could cast like Aaron Paul in it. That'd be fun.
Yeah, he was in that Need for Speed movie.
Yeah, put him in that too. I've never been a big Mario game guy. I was always a Sega kid until the N64. I loved Mario as a kid.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I think the Nintendo 64 is where I lost interest in Mario.
Yeah, because I didn't play Mario 64.
I did.
But
I didn't really care about it.
NES and SNES, and I got back into it again with the GameCube. I think the Mario Sunshine.
Yeah,
which I played. Yeah,
that was kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
We own the newest one, but I think it's called Odyssey. I've never played it.
Yeah, we haven't played that one. Okay, so that's Super Mario. The other movie that I watched this over the last couple of weeks was Creed 3. I know you're not a Creed guy, Chris. You're not even really a Rocky guy. This one was pretty interesting to me, and there's a moment, and I tweeted this out, or I had this thought when I was watching the movie. It's about an hour into the movie where there's a fight between Jonathan Majors' character and some other champion. Not Michael B. Jordan, but the fight in general was hard to watch.
Okay.
Because Jonathan Majors' character is like a dirty fighter, so he's doing like dirty tricks and hurting. He's like doing elbows and punching like on their muscle on their arm where you're not allowed to do. And there's a scene where he tries to take his mouthpiece out, but he rips his teeth out and there's just blood everywhere. There's just
teeth out.
Yeah, exactly. Like the character of I forget what his name is in the movie. Dame is what Michael B. Jordan characters call him. I'm not sure I can't remember what his full name is. Anyways, the idea of and I had this thought about Rocky movies in general, but villains in Rocky movies and in Creed, where in this scene, they're trying to sell us on who this character is, and they do it in such a way through the physical natures of him. And like, I don't know if you've seen pictures of Jonathan Majors, but the guy is super jacked. Like humongous, and then in Rocky or in Creed 3, they sell us on who he is as a person, where he came from, and what he can do physically in this match. And it's an hour into the movie, and I was just watching. I'm like, well, this is something that I had not expected. And going into the movie, I think I was reading Zeddy and Nico's comments about the movie and about Michael B. Jordan's directing skills. They're very, very strong in this movie. There's another scene at the final fight between Michael B. Jordan's Adonis and Jonathan Majors' character, where it's kind of like I don't even know how to explain it. You're like taken out of the two characters in the match, are taken out of the real world in a sense, where I don't know. There's no fans. They're in the fight. They're fighting, and then all of a sudden there's no fans, and it's like they're just fighting each other, and then there's a jail cell put into it. But like it's like you're taken out of it. You're taken out of real life, and you're put into a different kind of, I don't know. It feels like you're on a different world almost. And it was along with the first fight with Jonathan Majors, and then the final fight, just like you're taken out of the movie in a sense, and it's just full on emotion. And I can assume that there are a lot. Michael B. Jordan as the director had a lot of the creative freedom with the script and all that kind of stuff. So I can assume that that was a lot of him. I love Michael B. Jordan as an actor, but his directing skills are pretty incredible as well. Just in this one movie alone, I hope he does more stuff. He's pretty incredible. So Creed 3 is a very, very good movie. Great trilogy too. I hope they don't make another one, but great trilogy. Yeah,
I've heard all three of them are great. And I've heard actually I should watch those instead of the Rocky movies at this point. And it's kind of one of those things. If I get to it, I get to
thought
it.
experiment, anyways, to see.
Well, I guess you don't need to know much about Rocky to enjoy these things.
Not overall, and that's one thing I actually think was missing in the third one was Sylvester Stallone.
Okay.
I wish Adonis would have called him on the phone or something and just had a conversation, just more or less a cameo for Sylvester Stallone, just because of how much he meant to the Adonis character overall.
Well, I mean, I think it was a rights thing is why they couldn't use.
Yeah, everything's going on with Sylvester Stallone and who owns Rocky and who owns this and that thing. So
Yeah, you would think it would be his since he created him, but
you would think so.
Yeah, it's not the way it works out.
Mm-hmm.
Ian says that infight was great. Some people have said it took away from the battle between the two, but I completely disagree. It was really unique too.
Well, like you can only have two guys boxing. In overall, there's 5 Rocky movies or six Rocky movies. And then this will be the 3rd Creed movie, so you're up to 9 movies. Like you have to do something different. You can't just have 2 guys hitting each other. You have to make a change. And like in the Rocky movies, that's kind of they did do a change. The first 2 fights between Rocky and Apollo Creed are more or less the same. And then in the 3rd movie, it's the Clubber Lang one with Mr. T, and they changed that fight. And then the 4th one's with Ivan Drago, which is that the whole movie's just basically montage after montage after montage. I
do love a good montage.
It's my favorite Rocky movie. So that one's different. And then Rocky 5, where it's basically a street fight with Tommy Gunn in the streets. And then the 6th one, the Rocky Balboa, is different because he's an older one. So you have to change how you finish these movies with a unique boxing match. So I agree with Ian. Really unique is a good thing.
Go Fast and Furious on the Rocky franchise. Have them fight underwater. That's a good idea. I would watch that. That would get me to watch it.
Yeah, that's right.
Because I've only seen Rocky 1 and I've seen Balboa, which I guess is the 6th one.
Yeah, that's the last one.
That's all I've seen. So.
That'd be a good jump. That'd be interesting.
Well, it's kind of like Indiana Jones. I've seen the first one. I've seen the Crystal Skull. I don't know the in between.
I like that. I wonder if there's other movies like that. That's like watching Jurassic Park and then watching Jurassic World Dominion. I wonder how that would go because it'd be the same characters. It's
I think that'd be a good time.
Jeff Goldman. Oh man. Sometimes I wish they were like that Men in Black thing where you could forget things and then try do it for the first time just to see what it would be like. Yeah, that'd be something I want to do. Watch the first movie and the last movie in a franchise.
What if you only watch Batman 89, then you watch like the Batman?
Yeah, the Batman, yeah. Or even Fast and the Furious would be funny,
That would be a good time.
Where they're, stealing the VCRs and stuff, and then the next one they're flying to space. Like, whoa, what happened here?
That might be the best example. That might be the best one. Because there's so much that happens in those movies to get to where they are flying in space.
Yeah. All right, so I think
watch that back to back.
Yeah. Just do it. See what happens. Okay, so I think that's everything that we read. Very little and more of what we watched, Chris.
A lot of watch.
Yeah, we did. Well, that seems to be where we're headed over the last actually couple of months of us doing our show for 2023. It's a lot of watching. Because there's just so much.
Yes.
Watch, I think. Okay, so let's talk about Secondhand Embarrassment. And talk about Succession. So let's talk about Succession a little bit. And can we talk spoilers about Succession, or should we not talk spoilers about Succession?
Maybe let's avoid the main thing.
Okay. So how are you liking overall, the final season of Succession so far? I think it's only 3 episodes.
I can never keep count because I don't watch them on time.
Right.
So whatever it is, they've all hit for me. But at the same time, they've also made me remember something about the show. There's so much dialogue that you have to pay attention to every bit of it. And if you forgot something from 14 episodes ago, sorry fella, you're out.
That's like the whole merger thing and the sale and
I
everything.
don't remember the details of it.
Yeah.
But thankfully, they keep talking about it, so it eventually kind of comes back.
Yeah, they do keep talking about it.
But every episode has been great, I think. This episode last week, though, was, or is, I think, my favorite of this series.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
Yeah,
phenomenal.
we had talked about it. So I'm very much enjoying season 4 of Succession. It's an incredible show. Writing and acting are just some of the best that I've seen. So yeah, the latest episode was a big one. And the reason I had thought about, and I tweeted this, that Succession is secondhand embarrassment. And secondhand embarrassment is you feel the embarrassment that someone close to you is feeling.
Mm-hmm.
So Succession, in the latest episode, you're very much in the emotional headspace of the three, main characters, I guess you call them, the siblings,
The Roy kids,
Roman, Shiv, and Kendall. So something happens, and you're like, damn it, it's really hard to explain. So anyway, something happens to them, and they're all very emotional about it. And the way that the show was, and the way that the scenes were shot, is each character goes somewhere to have an emotional moment,
mm-hmm.
and you go with them, and the camera is very close to them. It's like you're standing right beside them, and the way it's different about these characters is they're not overly emotional in certain ways, and emotional in sad ways. Kendall is very sad in season 3 specifically, but Shiv is like they call her Shiv. Like obviously her name is Siobhan, but Shiv as in like a shiv to the back. And Roman is a goof who sends dick pics to his father by accident. So when you see them be very emotional and sad, and they're crying, and they're saying things that you would never think that they would ever say to a human being, and you're right beside them when it happens, I feel their sadness. I feel them. And for them, I'm embarrassed for them because of how sad I am for them and how sad they are. And I was thinking about this in relation to Mad Men as well. And Succession is the same way. These are people that have nothing to do with my way of living.
Mm-hmm.
You know, ad agencies on Madison Avenue in the 60s and 70s. High finance and business deals of, upper the 1% of Americans or people in the world. These people have nothing to do with the way I live my life. But the way that the writing and the acting of these characters is so good that I actually care about these people. I care about Shiv. I care about Don Draper and Peggy Olson and Kendall Roy. So in the sense that, the show is so good that I feel their emotion, and I feel embarrassed for them, knowing what has happened and who these people are. And it's the big example of secondhand embarrassment is the scene in Taxi Driver, where Travis Bickle makes a phone call to a woman he's trying to ask out on a date. He starts the phone call, the camera is on him, and then they move the camera away from him where you cannot see Travis Bickle. You're looking down a long hallway. And the scene is so embarrassing because Travis Bickle is a loser asking this. I think it's the something to do with the campaign or something that he's been creeping on. Anyways, I heard Martin Scorsese talk about this, that he decided that the scene is so embarrassing. Travis Bickle is such a loser. He's saying he's so petty and he's never going to have a chance with this woman at all. And you can't physically watch him being embarrassed and embarrassing himself. So they pan away from him. So you're not watching it. You're not feeling that embarrassment. And with Succession, they do not hide that embarrassment and that emotional and uncomfortable feeling, because you follow all of these siblings around and you feel their emotion, you feel their embarrassment, you feel their sadness so close together. And in Succession, much more than I think Mad Men, where I never really felt sad. I felt sad for Don Draper in some instances, specifically in the last season. But Succession is so good for getting me to care about characters who are assholes, who are not good people, who are not good to each other. They're not a good family. They don't treat each other like a family at all. And I think it's a special kind of show where it's always a special kind of show or movie or TV show where you make unlikable people likable. You care about these characters. So in a long roundabout sense about Secondhand Embarrassment, this show is so good that I feel the embarrassment and I feel the emotions for these characters. So my overall thoughts, Chris, which you can comment on the Succession idea, but I do want to get into if there's any other stories or movies or TV shows that are like that. So what do you think about the Succession idea of the show is so good that you're so invested in these characters in specifically the last episode where something very emotional happens?
I agree with you. I think that the way it's shot and just the dialogue and the whole situation, it grabs you, and you're just in for the ride with each one of these characters. And I don't know about you, but at one point I was wondering, well, how is this one going to feel? How is that one going to feel?
Mm.
You know, when it came to like Connor, I was like, well, what is he going to do with this?
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, especially given what he said before about needing love and whatnot, or not needing it.
Yeah.
And so I think that was just, it's great writing. Like you said, it's just great. They do an excellent job with it. And the actors really, really sold it. I think that's what stands out to all the actors. Even Matthew McFadden, who is not one of the Roy children.
Right.
His role in this episode was tremendous. As kind of being that middleman who doesn't want to say, you know, what's the finality of it.
Yeah, you're right about that too. And I mentioned it was just because of the siblings, but on the opposite side of that with Tom, and the way he's talking and the way that people are talking to him as you see what's happening in the background, I got it. Like I felt that as well. I'm like, it was so incredible. And something about my surprise for season 4 and how good I think it's episode 4, how great we think it is. The season finale of season 3, where the 3 siblings are, I think it's outside wherever the villa is, or where Kendall's sitting on the ground and they all, you know, come around him and they put their arm on him and everything. Like, the show can't be better than this. But then in this episode in season 4, there's literally a moment just like that, and it feels just as good. Like I don't know how the show can be so good. I don't know how it's just incredible to me.
Yeah, I don't want to speak hyperbolic, but I really think it's the best episode of the series.
Yeah.
And but you know, we got another episode tonight, and we have a few more, so we'll see where it lands. Also, once it sits for a little bit, but at the moment, I just absolutely love that episode.
Well, the surprise episode too. Sorry, just like we were talking about the Zava stuff with Ted Lasso, how that was a surprise. I didn't see this coming at all for this episode. And even if you knew it was coming, how they handled it as well was such a surprise.
Yeah, the way they
I didn't expect. I can't wait to. We're gonna have to talk about it when the season's all over again. Just how they handled the big moment is unlike anything that I would have expected.
Yeah, it was special.
Yeah,
the way they handled it was special. Ian says that's great writing. They purposely kept things hidden to make you feel like the 3 and go through the experience with them. I was on the edge of my seat trying to hear it down the phone. And if I'm not mistaken, they shot it in order or something.
Oh yeah, that would have been.
It was shot a specific way so that you got like the reactions were more genuine than they would have been rehearsed or something. I forgot how it went. Ian also says The Office, the British version, is full of secondhand embarrassment. I've never seen the British one.
Yeah.
Hey, Carlos. Carlos says the only folks who don't like Succession are the Murdoch family. I would think so. Yeah. I don't think it's on their watch list.
Another movie that I thought about with Secondhand Embarrassment is Inside Llewellyn Davis with Oscar Isaac. It's from the Coen brothers. Basically every instance every moment that happens to him in the movie is embarrassing. And you're just like, oh my God, I feel so bad for this guy.
I haven't watched it.
Yeah, just everything that happens to him, I just feel so bad for him in every step that he takes.
I always want to watch that because I love Oscar Isaac, but I just haven't sat down to do it.
Yeah.
When I think of like most recently a show where you kind of, you know, you feel what the character's feeling is Ted Lasso. I relate to Ted a lot. So.
And I forget who mentioned the scene where he's talking to his ex-wife on the computer. You're right.
Krabs.
you right up at Ted's face, so you can feel the emotion. I think that where the camera placement really helps with getting inside the characters. I like that.
It's all, and again, it's also good writing, a mixture of good writing and good acting.
100%.
You give a quality actor quality material, they're going to do what they do.
I agree. 100%.
Much like Arnold Schwarzenegger in Batman and Robin.
Of course, you feel every emotion of that cold-hearted bastard.
Chill.
Okay, so that's kind of my thoughts on secondhand embarrassment, which is something the term that I only learned this year thanks to my 13-year-old daughter.
That was a smooth transition.
Not bad. Very good, Chris. Good job.
Yeah, I do what I can.
I think that's going to wrap it up for Chris. What do you got? Anything else you want to talk about? Yeah.
I wanted to mention this because Ian said this on Twitter too. The hug after the press announcement was improvised, and that made it even better.
Yeah, and I thought about that after when it was happening, because in the scene, I think you only see two of the kids' faces, and Kendall's I think it's Kendall's. I'm like, oh, I bet you the director would be like, I wish you guys would have told me. I would have turned the camera around 90 degrees or something, so I can get all the characters.
At least they didn't reshoot it though.
Yeah, I have to wonder about that. Like, if you watch bloopers, I always watch bloopers from Seinfeld or something.
Mm-hmm.
Where a character will do something and the character will laugh and it'll ruin the scene. But then if you watch the real show, like that is in there in a certain sense. So I think that's always fun. If the reshooting of a scene that makes somebody crack or whatever.
It's always good.
Always good. Anything else you want to talk about, Chris, or anything else you're looking forward to over the next little while?
No, we got Barry tonight, Succession, Evil Dead Rises this week.
Oh my God.
Very excited for that. Beau is Afraid is this week. Excited for that too.
I wish good things would stop coming out.
I do too. Like, slow it down.
It's just ease up with all the good stuff, will you?
Slow it down, please. That's it.
All right. Well, let's head on out of here. Where can people find you?
You can follow me on Twitter at thatchris70 if that's your thing. You can also follow the podcast I do with my buddies Phil Walsh and Anthony Caruso at DC Unlimited Pod on Twitter. And as always, I would love it if you'd follow this show at G of the Geeks. Emmet is a lot better with the other plugs regarding subscriptions and YouTubes and all that stuff. So he'll take over.
You guys can follow me on Twitter at EmmettDavis7. Gathering of the Geeks is available on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. Just search Gathering of the Geeks and you will find us. Thanks so much to Eric, Zeddy, Grabs, Ian, Carlos for coming in, Phil. I think I got everybody. Just our main crew. Anyways, guys, thanks so much for watching on a fine Sunday evening. And in saying all that, for Chris and I'm Emmet, and we gather on Sundays.
Have a great week, guys.